because I don't see Alexandria. Welcome back. There's still people filtering in. Come on in. Come on in. Make yourself comfortable. So the rest of the program is we've got 90 minutes. And then we're going to wrap up. The next hour is going to be a lot of economic development and business, followed by real estate business orientation. And then we'll, at 6 o'clock, be upstairs at the pub for additional networking for an hour, as long as you'd like. So Shane Jacobs, could you come on up, please? So if Alexandria, you're here or somewhere, I know you're here somewhere, please, we'll go to you next. And Jem, do you have some slides?
Right there.
Amazing. Shane Jacobs is here in Arizona. He's an extraordinary resource because he helps companies get talent and people in 150 countries. And that's really important if you're an exporter or somebody's growing business. Shane, what should we know about talent in semicon?
Yeah, thank you so much, and appreciate you coming to my alma mater here at Thunderbird. I'm an alum of this institution. And unlike the previous speaker that talked about recruiting talent, we help enable global expansion without the risk. And there's two really main ways in which we do that. And if you turn to the next slide, as you're thinking about growing and expanding internationally, then there's a lot of different ways in which you can do that. We were founded in 2008. We've helped hundreds, if not thousands, of companies remain compliant with the expansion of their company and hiring internationally. So next slide, please. And so what strategies you can entail is, first of all, finding talent doesn't necessarily mean in your backyard. It could be talent in another country. We saw a huge growth and explosion of that during COVID. People realized that not only can I work from home, the employees I have don't have to actually be in my same country. There are specific talent all across the globe. Why can't I hire them in that country and work for me here? But how do I do that? That's what we help do. And then next, after I've hired that talent, is my next step to actually expand into that country. How do I do that? And again, that's where we help enable that expansion. Okay, next slide. Something that was really clear to us over the past, 10 years is the percentage of employers globally who say they're struggling to find skilled talent that they need, and it has nearly doubled. So they're finding it more and more difficult to find the right talent. We've heard some speakers today that can help do that recruiting, but again, if you can expand that talent pool into other countries, suddenly you've got access to this talent that's going to be a better fit for you. We have operations worldwide, and I know I can send an email to my team in India. While I'm sleeping, they're working on it. When I wake up in the morning, the answer is there, right? So you can get some of those 24-hour service type organizations by hiring in other countries and other time zones. Next slide. And so this is kind of an area which we focus on is, how does this work? How do I find the right talent? You can use our recruiting services or your own or others. I found the talent. How do I hire them? Let's do that compliantly so that we're looking at the labor laws in those countries and honoring their citizens and making sure you're compliant there. And then the next step, I want to actually plant my flag in that country. I want to expand into that country. Eduardo, part of our executive committee, helps manufacturing in Mexico. We also help those companies establish the legal structure so that now they can work with Eduardo for the manufacturing. So all this is intertwined with a lot of these other companies in Global Chamber, which is why we've been such a strong supporter of the Global Chamber for so many years. Next slide. And this just gives you an idea of what that global reach can look like. We're in, what does it say up here? 91 countries where we have our own established entity. We work with partners worldwide. To go back to the question of tariffs, an interesting conversation I had a couple weeks ago about a company that manufactures their products in Mexico, transports that to the US, and then they distribute internationally from there. The threat of tariffs, the USMCA, all that may go away or change is having them rethink, what if I just establish my own company in Mexico and distribute from there? I don't think that's the intent of tariffs to drive companies away, but we're seeing some of these unintended consequences happen. So we help companies strategize or at least understand what options are available so they can counteract what's going to happen as it seems to change all the time. So anyway, those are just some highlights, some thoughts that I want to share with all of you. Thank you so much for being here. We help enable global expansion without the risk. And one of those ways we do that is by connecting with you and helping you on your global journey as you go. So thank you so much, and turn it over to Doug.
Oh, that's right, Sam. Thank you, Colin Doug. Next.
Wow.
Who's next on the line?
Okay. Yeah. Is Alexandria here? Not yet. We have a map over here. Could we talk a little bit about this map? Yuna, would you like to say something about this map? I'm going to surprise you. What would you like to say?
Okay. Thank you for having me in this event. Okay. Okay. Hi, guys. Thank you for participating in this event. I'm Yuna from Taiwan and work with Ban Faris. And today we also prepare this a little bit activities. So if you guys have a chance, you guys can interact with this world map and just ping where are you from. And you can see a lot of ping already on the map. So it shows this event is really global and universal. A lot of people from different places around the world already joined this event. So yeah, having fun.
So what should people do if they haven't put their name in there, put the push pin in?
Yeah, so we prepare the pin here. So just put the pin on where are you from? Yeah.
Is there anybody else from Taiwan?
Over here. Yeah, so today we have a lot of amazing student leaders joining us, and some of them also from Taiwan. Yeah.
Very good. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Let's see what's next. I lost track of the time. So we've got Shane, and next, George Chen is on the line. So we were speaking earlier about lawyers, and attorneys are good people. And George, I think I've been getting a Christmas card from George Chen for about 20 years. And so similar to Mike Patterson, it's like lawyers are good people. And George Chen is salt of the earth, and he's an intellectual property attorney and such an important business area to know when you're in semiconductors or anywhere where you're doing business. George, are you there? And Jem, could we queue up George? I believe he's in Texas.
Hello,
Houston,
Doug.
Texas, visiting Texas. How are you, George?
Hello, Doug. Good. Thank you. Thank you for the introduction. Yes, I am. I happen to be in Dallas, Texas. I actually live and work in the Phoenix area and would have loved to be there in person with you today. But unfortunately, I had some other business meetings previously scheduled here in Dallas. So I'm speaking to you from my hotel room right now. Hello, everyone. Again, my name is George Chen. I'm with the law firm of BCLP. Some of you may know us as Bryan Cave historically. And Doug has asked me to share some remarks with you regarding intellectual property and more specifically patents. And one of the reasons why he has asked me to speak about that is because of my 30 some years of work in the semiconductor industry here in the Valley, here in the Phoenix area. I started off my career actually as an engineer working for what was then Motorola, what is now NXP, and focusing on developing the latest and greatest power semiconductor chips, power transistors, gallium arsenide transistors, and specifically that are used in cell phones to transmit your signal a long way to the base station. From there, I had moved over to the legal department of Motorola, where they taught me how to write patents. And then I went to law school and then joined the firm, BCLP, where I've been for the last 25 years, helping clients protect their innovation, protect their inventions, their technology, their brands, and their discoveries. So we just heard about the importance of having this workforce, talented workforce, no matter what geography or location you're in. Well, one of the things that workforce is going to do is help you improve your technology to make things run better, faster, perhaps less expensively. All of those things certainly can be protected by patents. What I've got is some information here showing you some of the statistics related to patents in the global semiconductor industry, as well as more locally here in Arizona. So if you take a look at this slide here that is showing the top patent leaders in the semiconductor industry, this is across the globe, regardless of their physical location. You'll see TSMC, which happens to have a large presence now and a growing presence in Arizona they're going to be building 6 fabs, 6 computer chip manufacturing facilities here in the Phoenix area. The first one is already online. And you'll see several other companies on here that also have a presence within Arizona, including Intel Corporation, Tokyo Electron, and so on. So that's just giving you a flavor of the top semiconductor companies in terms of their patents across the world. So if we move to the next slide, you'll see more specifically the companies that we have in Arizona, or let me say some of the companies. Couldn't fit all the companies in the semiconductor ecosystem that are here in Arizona, but you'll see several of the companies here that were on the previous slide. We've mentioned TSMC and Intel, for example, but there are many, many other companies here listed, from Applied Materials to Amkor to NXP, onsemi or On Semiconductor, and so on, Western Digital, Sumco. So all of these companies help form what we call the Silicon Desert here in the Phoenix area. So let's move to the next slide, the 4th slide, which shows the total number of patents that are originating. I think the right side of this graph is cut off, but you'll see that this particular graph is showing the number of patents that are rising. And if you could see the far right-hand side of this graph, you'll see that the number keeps rising higher and higher up to the far upper right-hand corner here. And this is just based on patents that are originating based on inventors who are physically located in the state of Arizona. So if you could move to the next slide, slide number 5, this is more focusing in on the patents that have the companies that have a presence in Arizona and their total number of patents that they received in 2025, last year. You'll see again, TSMC, no surprise, is leading the way, followed closely there by Intel, Honeywell, and Infineon, which also has a presence in Arizona. So again, this is just a snapshot of the companies that are here. And so this just shows you the importance of patents and their ability to protect the innovation that is going on here in Arizona and elsewhere across the globe. For folks who have questions, if you show the last slide, please. Unfortunately, again, I'm not able to be there with you, but I would be happy to speak to you offline. Feel free to give me a call. Feel free to send me an email, and would be happy to share with you more insights into this topic or answer any other questions that you might have. So with that, I will turn it back over to Doug.
Thank you, George. Thank you. You may clap. You may clap. Keep the standing ovation going for our next speaker, Fernando Garcia of the Arizona Commerce Authority. He's going to give you an overview of the world and semiconductors and where Arizona fits in, and give a bit of a global perspective, country by country as well. We did have, and I wanted to at least show this, the document that all of you who registered for this received this morning in the email. If you go to the attachment, you'll see this document. It's a 7-page document that Marcos and Alma put together. It's the first one of its kind, and so let us know what you think of it, and we'll continue to build on that over the years. And now, after you hear from Fernando, we'll have more information regarding how it all fits together. Fernando, there you are. Thank you for speaking.
Thank you, Dan. Appreciate it. Thank you. Awesome. Good afternoon, everyone. It's an absolute pleasure to be here. I'm Fernando Garcia, Executive VP of International Trade and Investment with the Arizona Commerce Authority. I oversee the international strategy and our 9 international offices at the States. In the last couple of years, our global footprint has significantly grown, and that has been to support the great economic momentum that's happening in the state of Arizona. For today's presentation, I'll be focusing on 3 main things. 1, giving an economic update on the activity that we've seen in the last 5 to 6 years. 2, the absolutely amazing opportunity that we have at hand and how that relates to the trade deals that are happening at the federal level with governments in Asia, specifically Japan, Taiwan, and Korea. And thirdly, how we can continue to work together. Certainly, economic development is a team sport. We heard from Senator Mark Kelly earlier and his leadership, working with quite a few of these projects, certainly working with the city of Phoenix, Mayor Gallego, Governor Hobbs, some great initiatives to really put Arizona on the best spot possible as it relates to business attraction here in the state of Arizona. Now, to share a little bit more on who we are, and then, is this the clicker? There we go. The Arizona Commerce Authority focuses on 3 main things. We focus on attracting companies into the state of Arizona, helping companies expand, and creating new business. That means working very closely with our universities and supporting entrepreneurs throughout the states. Now more than ever, for a lot of these OEM solutions are tapped into through entrepreneurs. So we've developed great programs to support tech startups throughout the state of Arizona. And a quick overview on what we do to support companies that are looking to enter the markets. Now, we've certainly been on the news as it relates to TSMC expanding, Amazon, Google. But in addition to that, the state of Arizona has had great economic momentum. Since 2020, there has been over 65 semiconductor companies that have expanded into the state of Arizona. You heard about the $165 billion from TSMC. In addition to that, those 64 additional semiconductor companies account for over $210 billion in capital investment. Now, certainly the semiconductor industry has been very, very active in the States, but we are home to global giants in multiple sectors. In aerospace and defense, we have one of the most significant clusters in the entire United States with over 1,200 companies within just that sector. Of course, you need the semiconductor industry to support aerospace and defense. You need optics and photonics and many of the other sectors that we see here on the screen. We've ranked #1 in the semiconductor industry now for the last 2-3 years, and it's truly for 3 reasons. 1, the CapEx that we've experienced. 2, the innovative climate. As many of you may know, for the last 11 years, Arizona State University has been ranked the #1 most innovative school in the entire United States. And the third piece is because of the workforce support that a lot of these semiconductor companies are receiving. And there's many examples on how Arizona, along with our 3 state universities and our community colleges, continue to support these great companies that are landing here in the state of Arizona. Now, it's a little delayed. Here's a quick glimpse of some of the key players that have a presence here in the state and have expanded in the recent years. All the way from equipment suppliers, material suppliers, silicon IP, and EDA suppliers. Certainly that list has grown significantly. Now, we talked about the investments.
Hey, everybody, I'm Senator Mark Kelly, and I want to thank you for being here at Global Chamber's 5th Semiconductor Summit, and welcome to Arizona. This event is about connection.
I think
Global semiconductor industry to what's going on here.
There we go.
She's controlling.
Okay, there we go. So we'll go on to the next slide. Let's keep going. So to support these semiconductor companies, we've heavily invested in our three state universities. 2-3 years ago, the state of Arizona dedicated $100 million to support our three state universities. And through that, there were $35 million invested into the University of Arizona's Micro Nano Fabrication Center, for ASU $17.5 million, and then for NAU $13 million. But what's truly unique is a project in collaboration between Arizona State University and also Applied Materials. This was a $270 million project to develop a center of excellence to provide that workforce that's needed, but a lot of the key companies throughout the state of Arizona. Next slide. Now, as part of the strategy to develop those capabilities, the state, through Arizona Commerce Authority, developed the National Semiconductor Economic Roadmap. Now, this roadmap truly focused on 4 main areas, which you can see on the screen, and that was to identify the gaps within those areas: workforce, supply chain, infrastructure, and entrepreneurship. Now, if we go to the next slide, as a result of that, 3 different task forces were created. One in advanced packaging, which now Arizona is home to one of the largest projects in advanced manufacturing. And we have the director for the city of Peoria here, Maria Lofner, who's heavily supporting Amcor's facility. That was originally a $2 billion project, now a $7 billion project with 3,000 jobs. Now, what does that mean for Arizona? It's a new bucket of supply chain that we can support and that can land here in the States. Certainly significant efforts in workforce and supply chain, but in addition to that, there's been great momentum in other sectors. Since 2020, there's been over $7 billion in capital investment in renewable energy projects, $7 billion in battery projects, $3.1 billion in aerospace and defense, and over $26 billion in data center projects. So certainly huge economic activity in the States. Next slide, please. Next slide. So I spoke about our international footprint. 3 years ago, we had 2 main markets where we had a presence. We had an office in Tel Aviv and we had an office in Mexico City. Since then, we opened up office in Canada, Europe, specifically in Frankfurt, Romania. We're now in Taiwan, Korea, and just recently we opened up an office in Japan to support the supply chain that's required by the semiconductor industry. Now, if we go to the next slide. These are some of the results that occurred in the fiscal year 2025. We closed around 97 projects, accounting for over $31 billion in capital investments and over 24,000 jobs. That's just within fiscal year 2025. Right now, our current active project pipeline is the largest it's ever been. If we would compare it to 5 years ago, our active project pipeline was around 200 projects. Right now, we have over 470 projects, and 150 of those are international, many of those coming from the Asian market, specifically Taiwan, Korea, and Japan. Next slide. Now, here's a quick overview on those 97 projects that I mentioned for fiscal year 2025. Around 73% of those are in advanced manufacturing, and those are the 3 first columns that you see in technology and innovation, consumer products, and aerospace and defense. Next slide. Now, in addition to that, we've certainly had a significant increase in international CapEx, so FDI projects into the state of Arizona. From 2012 to 2020, 8-year span, we had 45 projects that landed in the States that accounted for $1 billion. Just in the last 5 years, we've landed 63 international projects, accounting for $175 billion in CapEx. It really gives you a glimpse of the opportunities that we've had in the last 5 years. And as we move forward, certainly the trade deals happening with Japan, Korea, and Taiwan are going to be significant to the economic activity that we'll see here in the States. Next slide. We've had record exports, certainly at $32.4 billion. These are some of the key markets that we continue to work heavily with. Next slide. Now, what's really interesting is the growth. You know, from 2015 to 2024, there's been a significant increase from Taiwan. Taiwan, a small country of around 23 million people, going from a ranking of 10 to number 6. The Netherlands going from number 11 to 3, some significant numbers that show growth and certainly opportunities as it relates to investment coming into the States. Next slide. So quick glimpse on imports. Next slide. And then now for import, this is some great signaling for us as well. And we see a huge signal from Taiwan, certainly Vietnam. That's been a key market going from 18 to 11. They've certainly had significant growth, and we've been really tapping into the opportunities out there as well. Next slide. And next slide. Certainly, we have a strategic location. Part of our value proposition certainly includes a great access to California's market. We know that to manufacture in California, it's not the most ideal option, but it is a state with a population of over 39 million people, right? Now, as it relates to supply chain integration, there are great commonalities in between the state of Arizona, also with Mexico being the 15th largest economy in the world. Next slide. Certainly, our modern infrastructure continues to be a significant asset, being the 48th youngest states. Next slide. And then now we'll go a little bit more into abundant talent. Next one. Something that's very unique and that's of high interest to a lot of the international companies that we work with are our numbers as it relates to our growth as a county. Maricopa County for the last couple of years has ranked number 1 as the largest growing county. And you combine it to also being the number 1 county for attracting talent and retaining talent. You have a really great formula for companies to continue to expand here in the States. Next slide. Next slide. Some quick numbers on the engineering talent throughout the state. There are over 43,000 engineering students. But what's at the core is certainly the post-secondary students, over 630,000 students that are going to be key for positions that require technicians, maintainers, and operators. Slide. Future 48 has been a great accelerated program to augment the capabilities of workforce for a lot of these companies. And we've seen that across multiple sectors, the semiconductor industry, aerospace and defense, battery manufacturers, and the automotive sectors as well. And we'll skip through a couple of slides. Go ahead. This is a quick glimpse of our pro-business environments. The state of Arizona has ranked number 1 in economic development performance, specific to Maricopa County. But in addition to that, as it relates to incentives, we have a really compelling and great cost savings overviews for a lot of companies. As it relates to our incentives are very direct, very transparent. So we focus on 3 main things: CapEx, real estate, and employment. And we're providing a great formula for companies to be able to operate here in the state of Arizona. Next one. Next one. And with that said, as it relates to the opportunity, I gave a quick glimpse from the semiconductor industry in the last 5 years, $210 billion capital investment, aerospace 3.1. But truly what we're focusing on as it relates to lead generation is focusing on those key strategic markets, especially in Asia. $500 billion trade deal with Japan, $350 with South Korea, and $500 billion trade deal that just got reached out a couple of weeks ago with Taiwan. That's really going to be a great part of the solution as we continue to attract companies here into the state of Arizona. Thank you for your time. And Doug, I'll hand it back to you. Awesome.
Two pieces of good news. There's more coffee. So we have some more and some, well, I think water there as well. So we'll have some refreshment when we're done. And Maria Loeffner, who we heard reference to from City of Peoria, is here. And this is an initiative that started years ago in City of Peoria, and now Maria has taken it to the next level. So much going on. It's a huge city geographically, and now it's a huge city internationally. Could you give us a sense of that? Thank you, Maria.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. And I love going after Fernando because he paints the really big picture, and then I get to come in and distill it all the way down to one community, and how Peoria in this case can be the case study for how to grow the semiconductor industry in Arizona and participate in that larger economy. All right, next slide. So just for you to see how Peoria fits into the big picture, we are located in the Northwest Valley, just west of the city of Phoenix. We're the 8th largest city in Arizona and growing fast. We also have, we're very accessible with 4 different freeways and highways. The most important of those is, of course, the Loop 303 that connects the I-17 to the 10. Why is that important, do you say? TSMC. So TSMC is the genesis for everything that is going on in Arizona right now. And because TSMC located there on the map, we were able to attract Amkor Technology to build a $7 billion facility in Peoria. If you go to the next slide, you can see what it really means in terms of being an asset, the 303 being an asset. So Amkor is located 5 minutes away from TSMC on the 303. I mean, that proximity has allowed the city to take a very proactive approach in how we are going to participate in this economy. Go to the next slide, please. So because we got Amkor to locate in Peoria, we were able to be very strategic, and the city went after 834 acres of state land to develop our own industrial infrastructure around Amkor and TSMC, and the proximity to TSMC. And with that, we were able to front $500 million of investment into infrastructure into the area. As you see in this map, it's all pristine. There's nothing out there. So we are building the roads and the sewer and the water and bringing in all of the other infrastructure, not only to support Amkor, but to build out the entire 834 acres, which now the city owns and is for sale if anybody knows someone that is interested in building supply chain manufacturers that will support TSMC and Amkor. We're also moving forward with all the zoning. Land use and zoning is going to council next month and will be approved to support the employment generators that we're looking for. And with the last slide, I just want to say we're excited to be a part of the entire ecosystem. We believe that Peoria is the place. And yes, if anyone has anything that they'd like to talk to me about, I will be here. Thank you very much, Doug.
Have you heard Peoria is the place? And Mexico is a place too. And so, Jose Luis, where are you? So Jose Luis is going to be speaking about Mexico semiconductor projects and overall. So what's really cool about it is he's got an overview and he's got, I think, 5 specific projects he'll be talking about. Are you ready to go? Fantastic. You'll need to pronounce your last name for us.
Okay, I will try it. Some pictures, please. Thank you, guys. My name is Jose Luis Jauregui. I'm from Mexico. I'm actually living in Mexicali, and I'm very proud to be here with you today. And I'm the founder of Bontech. Bontech is the first OSAT in Mexico that is focused on MOSFET. So I hope to meet and greet with some of you guys if you are interested on knowing more about this project. But as Doc said, I will explain you what is happening in Mexico. But keep in mind 2 things. Mexico is very well known as a country for manufacturing, for cars, automotive, aerospace, medical devices, but it's a real green field for semiconductors, and I will explain you why, right? And the second thing is Mexico is the #1 trade partner for the US in 2025, okay? It's Mexico with almost 500 billions, and then is Canada, and there is China. So the opportunities are there. So, okay, why is important? Why it's important be here and talking is from the nearshoring to the capability, right? North American is wiring the chassis for supply chains, right? And Mexico, since we are neighbors, we have the capacity agency, right? Mexico is leaning into design and ATP, right? And this is very important. We have design centers and we have now ATP factories like Skyworks, Infineon, and there is also Qualcomm as well. And the next 24 months are about execution, talent, infrastructure, and anchor projects that I will explain a little bit more. Next slide, please. Okay, what is happening in Mexico along with the USMCA that you already heard about this free trade agreement? We have the Plan Maestro, which is 2024-2030, which is intent to strengthen the North America integration supply chain. That's very important. The government is trying to give some incentives to companies to open factories in some specific states, right? The program itself is Kutsari. This is a national design initiative, which is announced sites to include Puebla and Jalisco, which are the states in Mexico, among others, right? And this is going to be multi-state coordinated narrative, right? We plan to do the first foundry in Mexico by 2030, right? But I will give you some good news before that, right? The incentive signals for this short, right? And the IP patent acceleration to discussions tied to semiconductor, right? Policy is not a bottleneck alone. Execution the capacity is. So something important to highlight. The next one, please. Okay, about infrastructure, right? The readiness. We have energy, we have water, we have logistic, and we have permitting, right? We have everything to become successful in terms of semiconductors. And again, Mexico is a greenfield, right? Because we have the people, we have the space, we have everything as well. And being partners, right, and using this USMCA agreement is going to help us, right, to become a really partnership in the semiconductors, right? And here is the infrastructure. Infrastructure is the gating function for credible investment, right? If we give that to the investors in terms of what they can do, they will be in the other side of the discussions, right, about what Mexico can do. Next one, please. Why you should care? Why everybody here should care? Because North America wants resilience, right? And Mexico is a scalable agency, right, for backend and system. Trade data continues to show a strong export momentum. Macro tailwind is intact so far, and the investment wedge, ATP capacity, test engineering, materials and logistics, reliability, quality, services, and talent platforms that we are developing right now in Mexico. The investable wedge, ATP capacity, right? That is important thing that is happening in Mexico, right? We don't want to compete with companies like TSMC, but we can compete with ATP and design platforms. Next one, please. Okay, just to give an example, right? On the left side of the screen, you can see the exports of Mexico from 2023 and what is expected to 2026 is very low. Again, it's only 4.7 billion what is expected in this year, right? Very chips, right? And the semiconductor enabled exports, including PCBs and all this stuff, is going to be up to $25 billion by the end of 2026, right? This is important because, again, Mexico is not in the game yet, but will be very soon with the projects that we are launching, right? And we need the support, bilateral and binational support from the US, from the universities, from the investors to make that happen, right? Next one. Okay, we call it regional corridors, right? We have Baja California, right? Where we have Skyworks, we have Infineon, we have Qualcomm, Sonora, the plan Sonora that I was discussing with Arturo and Andrea? Edna as well. We have Jalisco with Intel is in Jalisco, right? Micron is in Jalisco as well. In Querétaro, and I will give you the good news, Querétaro is now building a foundry. The very, very first foundry location is happening right now while I speak in Querétaro, right? I will give you more details about that. And Puebla, they are also in design center and talent development. I think that these 5 states are the ones that are taking the lead in terms of semiconductors manufacturing, infrastructure, and also talent development. Next one, please. Okay, the design center, Intel, Micron, NXP, and Circuify that are in Guadalajara, in Jalisco, right? Manufacturing right now happening, as I said, Skyworks, Infineon, in Mexicali, in Tijuana, and Texas Instrument as well in Aguascalientes. And the OSAT packaging and test projects, we heard that IC Labs, subsidiary of AC Technology, is planning a semiconductor packaging and testing facility in Mexico as well, right? Which is expected, announced, and creation scale for Mexico. So this is what is happening right now. It's obviously it's nothing compared with what's happening here in Arizona, but we are trying to go in the same direction and to support the North America market. Next one, please. Okay, and here is the future semiconductor players in Mexico. Okay, the first one, ATP Ion. This is going to be one of the first OSATs for advanced packaging, which is BGA, 2D, and 3D, right? This is happening right now. They are developing, they are in the early stage. Nanopulse, also an OSAT for advanced packaging startup narrative. And the third one, the one that I said is QSM Semiconductor. They invest around $15 million, $15 million for the foundry project. This is a foundry project for legacy parts, right? It's legacy 100%. But it's going to be the first big step for Mexico for having the first foundry, along with what the government is doing. And Bontech, which I'm representing today, this is a startup OSAT for MOSFET focus, which is we're planning to open in Mexicali, okay, in Baja California this year. But we are very excited to make that happen because I think that we are in the right direction and we have already some customers which are engaged with us. Next one, please. Okay, so this is the education footprint. As I said, we have in Baja California, we have engineering, advanced packaging universities. In Jalisco, we have also engineering in microelectronics. Mexico City, engineering and microelectronics. Nuevo León, another state in the north of Mexico, engineering, microelectronics, and material test. And multi-site national, the Tec Nacional Mexico, Tecnológico Nacional de Mexico. They are very hard developing engineers in design, advanced packaging, right? So we are developing our own talent as well to export or to bring here to the US because I know that you are needing people with experience for semiconductor as well. So we are working as well with the universities to prepare the future talent. Next one, please. So some asks for this room. I know that there are investors, there are professionals, there are landlords, there are people from different areas, right? Okay, we want to have anchor projects for investors, right? To really put some money in Mexico as well, right? Also in the US, but since we are partners, we can contribute to the ecosystem in Mexico, right? Universities, they co-developed curricula tied to real process models, right? I know that there are some projects with ASU and CETIS in Baja California and other universities, right? For the industry, commit with pilot runs, MPI programs, and mentorship and supply development. We need that help as well from the industry. And the government for site readiness packages, power, water, permitting, incentives, etc., right? Mexico's opportunity is not to copy a fab nation. We don't want to copy. It's to become North America's fastest scale partner, rather than what is happening in Asia, and to just stop relying from the Asia market to be more local, right? The next one, I think is the last one. Okay, this is very important, and I like it, and I brought that idea from Semicon in Taipei. Beyond creating wealth, we aim to strengthen North America technology sovereignty, right? That's very important. We want to do. I know that for you guys in North America, this is for a matter of national security, in Mexico as well, right? But this is a kind of freedom, right? To have our own ecosystem, semiconductor ecosystem, and we are here to help. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Lots going on there. Eduardo Gonzalez is next. And Eduardo, are you there? Eduardo Gonzalez, he leads a company called 258 Consulting. You will not find anyone who knows Mexico manufacturers at a deeper level than Eduardo. And he also knows many manufacturers in the US. He worked for ProMexico, so he's got lots of connections over decades of work, primarily in manufacturing, from Baja originally, here in Phoenix. In addition, he's our executive director for Mexico and our board chair for Global Chamber Phoenix. Eduardo, are you there? And could you just spend a couple minutes and tell us a little bit more about US Mexico, particularly Arizona, Mexico?
Sure. Thank you, Doug. Jim, can you go to the last slide and just leave that in the background? Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Doug. Really appreciate the opportunity. So I think you heard from a lot of experts here, and I think you have a clear vision that we are building a semiconductor corridor between Mexico and the US. I think the opportunity is right now. It is a great opportunity. And the supply chain of semiconductors will only come and join other supply chains that are intertwined with the US. We think this corridor is very important because the industry needs what the region uniquely provides. So we have speed, redundancy, proximity, we have labor across the border, we have cost-effective engineers, and we have great experience in manufacturing. And we're just hours away, not weeks like some other supply chains. Together, I think we can deliver supply chain resilience and the capacity for companies that need to grow as fast as demand comes in. Like Doug mentioned, I'm the executive director for the Global Chamber for US and Mexico. And also I'm the founder of 258 Consulting, where we make things easier for companies that want to transition or are looking for suppliers in Mexico. We help them locate either contract manufacturing options, we help them with their site selection, we help them find engineers, we help them in any way that we can to connect into the binational region. And through the Global Chamber and all the network of 600 metro regions, we don't do this alone. We connect companies with investors, partners, binational collaborations and platforms. I think the only thing that is left is to invite everyone to be part of this important future that we're creating. Together, we can build a semiconductor corridor that sets a global standard for innovation, collaboration, and long-term resilience, along with the state, the cities, and of course, the binational effort. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for the time. Doug, I hope I didn't spend too much time, and hope I'm able to connect in the next opportunity with all of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Eduardo. Thank you. We'll continue to have some extraordinary speakers. This is what Global Chamber is about, is that the world is a big place. The goal is to be global and unstoppable, and a key part of that is to know a lot of people and to find those people that are going to be best for you. And so members hopefully understand through Globi and other ways that we connect them to people that are not necessarily easy to get to. And at the end of the day, it's not just connecting, it's doing something with them and moving it forward. And that's something we care deeply about. We also collaborate. We talked earlier about silos. Everybody's got a silo. That's a natural human thing. Our goal is to have all organizations ideally collaborate. The reality is that doesn't work. So we work to collaborate with as many organizations as will, and the Japan Chamber of Commerce and Industry of Arizona is one of those. They have 40 member companies, of which they have quite a concentration of semiconductor industry in it. And I wonder if Akito is here. Could you come up and I think Hiro is not here. Is that correct? Okay. So Yoshida-san is here to talk a little bit about what they're doing with Semicon. He himself is an alumni of the semiconductor industry, and so he'll give a little bit about that and a little bit about what they're doing. Thank you for the collaboration.
Thank you, Doug. Hello, everybody. My name is Akito Yoshida. I'm a semiconductor packaging consultant now. Before that, I worked for Amcor for 24 years here. So my base is in Phoenix. So nice to meet you. Okay, today I want to cover two things. One is to introduce you the JCCI Arizona. It's a Chamber of Commerce. And the other one is we are going to host one event in 2 weeks. I wanna introduce you to. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, who we are. We non-profit organization and established in 2024, 2 years ago. It's pretty new, and so we are trying to grow in Arizona. So our mission is very simple, but very important. So we want to be a bridge between the Japanese companies and the Arizona companies for the industry. So our focus is semiconductor, of course, that's why I'm here. We are closely working with Arizona government side and the Japanese government side, as you see here, including Consulate of General in Japan and also ACA. Okay, next slide, please. So we have around 40 members. Now, as you see here, there are lots of suppliers, material suppliers, and the equipment suppliers, but also we have facilities and talents, acquisition companies, and also financing side. So lots of companies are from a variety of areas. So that makes us strong. So we're expanding our activities. Okay, next slide, please. So let's move on our upcoming event. That's Advanced Packaging Summit in Arizona. We will have in 2 weeks. The location is, where is that? It's a Wild Horse Pass. It's about 20 minutes south from here. So on the same day, the IMAPS Technology Conference will take place. So if you are interested in coming here, just please stop by our event. So there are two presentations, keynote speech. One is Jan Badman from TechSearch. She's very famous in advanced packaging marketing research. And the other guy is Tadashi Kamewada. He's an expert of supply chain of semiconductor packaging area. After that, so we will have an open discussion about talking about supply chain issues, technology trend, and potential collaboration. Okay, next slide, please. So this is a detailed schedule, but if you want to check, just go to the website, type JCCI Arizona, then you will find out this homepage. Okay, thank you very much. Arigato.
So that's March 2nd. And where is the location?
It's in Phoenix. I've never visited the office, but it's a home office. For an event, it's a Wild Horse Pass. It's near the Sheraton Hotel in Chandler. So along the I-10.
Very good. Thank you very much. We have now about a half hour left, and our Vietnam speaker, there's some logistics issues, and there's also, I think the president of Vietnam or the head person for Vietnam is in the US. And so I know the embassy in Washington is very busy, and they have been this entire week. And so what we propose to them, rather than go through their presentation today, that we do a special separate conversation and we record it and get that to you so that we can be done at 6 o'clock. So hopefully that works with them. And given how busy they are with the big visit tomorrow in DC, hopefully that works for them. So I would ask that Daniel come up and the entire real estate group come up. There's, I think, Daniel who will stand at the podium, and I think there's 7 of you, but we have 5 chairs and they have it worked out. And so all I ask and we ask of you is that we wrap up at 6 o'clock. And I know there's like a chock full of information. This idea of here's Daniel Zimmerman of Kraus Anderson, who's in the construction industry, an extraordinary fellow, lives up in Camp Verde, working on projects all along the I-40 corridor, working on projects here in Phoenix, including healthcare and others, and semiconductor. You wouldn't find a more expert leader in terms of defense and government contracts. He's been researching it, trying to figure out how that all works. Definitely someone that you should know. Global Chamber has a weekly global real estate call, and the concept is real estate, business, and business, real estate, and what?
Pick it up.
We get together every week and we talk about that confluence of economic development, business, and real estate, because that's critically important and that's changing the landscape here in Arizona. So what you're going to hear here are you've got experts in real estate and economic development. You've got an expert in that field as well with Daniel. I think you're going to really enjoy it. And then we're going to wrap up at 6 o'clock and we'll finish up here and with some final networking. Daniel, you're amazing.
Thank you very much. Is everybody, are you lacking one?
Can you hear me?
Here, I'll give you one. You take that one. We got it. And Janice, if you want to come and join me over here. I'll just introduce myself real quick. Daniel Zimmerman, Kraus Anderson Construction. We're a Minneapolis-based firm, 128 years old. We moved here just about 2 years ago, and I'll give you a little detail on what we do after that. But Janice is our ranking member with the experience in the market space, and she requested that she do her deal, do a mic drop, and go sit down. So I'm going to respect that. Janice, can you tell us about your experience in Phoenix thus far in your career?
I certainly can, and I'm going to cut it short to be sure that everyone has their opportunity. So I just want to introduce myself. My name is Janice Wright, and I'm a real estate broker with Russ Lyon, Sotheby's International, and I'm currently licensed in Arizona and in the state of Hawaii. I began my real estate career right here at ASU. Well, this is Thunderbird, but ASU in Tempe in the early 1980s, earning a business degree. And following my interest in international business, I spent 1 month in each of 16 European countries and worked in real estate firms. But the bulk of my real estate career was spent in Honolulu, Hawaii, where I lived for 25 years and worked, and I earned my MBA in international business. So as you know, Hawaii is one of the most multicultural cities in the United States, with large populations of Japanese, Chinese, Filipino, Korean, and Vietnamese. So as I said, I'm going to cut my presentation very short today. And I just wanted to make a couple of observations about how Arizona has evolved and changed since my college days, when it was a small Western community, and now it's become such a dynamic hub of international business. One of the things is the population change in the Phoenix metro area. At that time, there were about 1.6 million people. Today, the population is estimated at slightly above 5 million people, which means it has more than tripled in 45 years. Statistics are showing now that in this area, we're adding about 70,000 to 90,000 people a year. And there are many reasons why people want to be here: the weather, the lifestyle, the market size, the technology now, the well-educated workforce, the strategic location, and the friendly business climate. So I'm not going to get into the statistics that I had today because Fernando was here earlier and did a great job with that. But I'll talk a little bit about the premier destination and why the affluent buyers are seeking luxury real estate in Arizona. So in addition to the amenities that I mentioned, the Arizona real estate prices are relatively low compared to other U.S. cities such as San Francisco and New York. And I wanted to mention that Arizona is the fifth among the top destinations in the United States for foreign money coming in. The top investors are coming from China, Canada, Mexico, India, and the United Kingdom. One of the last things I want to mention is that Arizona, ASU, is the top destination in the United States for international students pursuing higher education. And according to the ASU News, there are more than 17,000 international students. That's amazing, 17,000. So I want you to guess, if you can guess the top international student body at ASU, from which country do you think? India. It's India with 60% of the international students. The others coming from China, Saudi Arabia, Canada, and Taiwan. Anyhow, thank you very much. I hope to meet a lot of you. It's been wonderful to be here, and I'll sit down.
Okay, since it's late, you guys have been such a gracious audience. I'm going to be vulnerable and I'll give my problem in real time, and then I'm going to use this crew to solve it. Okay, so I'll do that. So, but to start off, let's let everybody know who you are. So if you please give your name, who you work for, or the entity that you represent, and the market segment, please. Sterling.
Yeah, so my name is Sterling Pascal with Stream Realty Partners. My focus is on representing office tenants and landlords throughout the valley here. I've been doing that for about 10 years, almost coming up on 11 years now, always focusing on office space, and happen to be past 2020. That was a little bit of a rough time for office users, but yeah, that's a little bit about me.
Thank you.
Hi, y'all. I'm Michelle Pauley. I lead the iOS Chicks, and we're brokered by eXp Commercial. So iOS means industrial outdoor storage. So I'm a super niche asset specialist, specializing in yards. So if you can put the word yard behind it, that's probably what I sell or lease. So contractor yards, steel yards, truss yards, junk yards, non-sexy yards. That's what I sell.
Hello, everyone. My name is Valentina Nisam. I work with Rasline Sotheby's International Realty. I focus more on residential, luxury. I did some commercial and multi-dwelling. Yeah, I'm so happy to be here. Thank you so much for putting all of this together.
Hi, excuse me. Hi, I'm Mark Pierce. I'm one of the principals and partners at Lee and Associates, Arizona. We're a national commercial real estate firm. We have 85 offices. It's Lee and Associates, and I was one of the original associates of the company when we opened up the Arizona office in 1992. My background is in semiconductor. I had the privilege to work with Intel for about 3 years on real estate during the cyclic time that people were talking about, the ups and downs of semiconductor. But at that time, we really developed a specialty in semiconductor and advanced manufacturing for all real estate properties.
Thank you, Mark.
Carrie Scott at Newmark. I almost slipped and said my old office. I just recently moved over to Newmark. We're an international commercial real estate firm, and I specialize in industrial. So warehousing, distribution, manufacturing, and logistics is all of our focus. But I do have one quick question. Do you drive a car that says iOS Chick?
You sure do.
I knew it. I was wondering, I was like, who is this iOS Chick? Like,
that's me.
She's coming in, but I saw you driving the other day.
This could get fun.
Sorry.
Yeah. No, we're going to invite more of this. Okay, so here's the issue that I got to solve. Where 128-year-old firm, 4 generations old. And we've got 10 outer offices. They bought a company here about 2 years ago. We're really well heeled on the finance side. I've got a great back office. We have our own insurance company. We're an old firm. And by the way, here's my pitch for our company. As we've talked through the day, we're seeing how technology is moving and moving and moving. But what we do is an old trade. It's an old idea. It's one of the oldest, building buildings. And at the very end of the day, what we're looking at is you have all of these technologies and all these things coming to market, but where we're at is we have to manifest that into the real world. And that comes down to a 20-year-old guy, getting him to have a desire to get up in the morning and go build something. Totally free will. So we really talk about at our office, how do we get hope to be part of the economy that we're working in? Because all these things don't actually manifest themselves. They require a community, which is why it's so important. So a lot of these guys, Mark is a really good example of somebody who's becoming a close friend of mine, but he's a lifeline. Because I have to figure this out, and it's a difficult problem. So here's what we've got. We've come into town, and I'm trying to figure out how to sort through things. How do I know which broker should I use? How should I know which market I should invest in? All these things are multivariable, complex issues, and it requires a lot of relational vulnerability. So I'm going to ask you for that as we kind of sort through it. I'll start off with Mark, and I'll just say, Mark, I'm going to thank you personally as I've come in and we're moving into this Department of War proximate space. I need real experts that really, really know the city of Phoenix, Peoria, Glendale, like who's going to be able to get me into that space and not get me into trouble? And I have no idea where the trapdoors are. So can you tell us, as you've told me, how did you get into this space of TSMC, semiconductor? What do you know that we don't know that I really need to know?
Well, I think the DNA of what I do is that we finish what we start, at least in my team, the property solutions team. So we've taken on some very challenging, very complex real estate transactions over the years. And that's led up to a certain credibility and trust with more sophisticated companies. So I work with national, international companies, also local and regional companies. But I think it's the basis of working with the semiconductor companies, which tend to be a little bit more complex, a few more moving parts, not your easy transaction. And it's not a transaction, it's really more of a relationship. So that's how I found myself into working with the TSMC supply chain. I work with them now, the #1 supplier for TSMC, strategic partner, for about 6 years now, and we just finished our 6th deal in 6 years. That's a lot of velocity. It's what I call right now, in my mind, in this whole world that we're in Arizona, the center of the universe for the semiconductor industry. We are beyond scale, and we are in acceleration. We are accelerating. I just closed a large deal that was a consortium of 4 Taiwanese companies on 52 acres, $59 million sale. Very complex. But fortunately, my relationship and my investment in time with this industry and this particular client and the parties involved, it really it came to a successful head. And I think it's a game changer for Arizona. We've got more coming.
Yeah, thank you. So what he said to me that's important to me as a builder is if he owns that relationship. So we have proximate, I'm imagining Deer Valley Air Park somewhere was where that close was at, in that region somewhere?
That's correct, yeah.
Yeah, so in these proximate pursuits, we're having to build a lot of synergy in that space. So making sure that I, as the builder, am well aligned to that broker partner, and that broker partner has been on the ground, in this case, for 6 years. I think I probably am touching some of his customers, and I'm only a year old on that. He's got 5 years ahead of me, so that's really important. Thank you very much. Valentin, I'm going to come back to you, Mark. Here, I'm going to have you close it out with some future casting for us. But I'm going to move it over. Valentina, you are in high-end residential real estate. Yes? Has Mark been successful enough yet to change your client base? Are you seeing more global companies coming or buyers coming into your market, multinational homeowners?
Can you repeat that again, please?
Sure. Are you seeing more multinational people? Is your customer base looking different yet? Would you use your microphone just in case? Thank you.
Yes, I see some like coming from all over with a lot of cash. and closing the deal very fast. Like, yeah.
That's amazing. So in your world, Mark, well done. Look at you changing the economy one person at a time. Okay, so these are going to be cash deals. I'm going to come back to that later because I want to know from all of you, this is like a seed for a future thought. I want to know if any of this technology, like what's happening, if it's changing the deal flow for you, if you're seeing longer lead times or or shorter lead times. So she just said shorter because these are cash deals. All right, I'm moving on to my next one here. Let's see here. Sterling, I don't know much about you yet. Could you tell me about your experience in the market, how you came to be where you are?
Yeah, no, absolutely. So like I said, I started about 11 years ago focusing on office leasing. And actually my foray into this was representing ASU and SkySong. So that was an innovation campus, about 42 acres on Scottsdale and McDowell Road. And that kind of was my.
Hold on. Did you just say you started your career by landing SkySong?
It was the team I joined was representing SkySong.
Ladies and gentlemen, my new hero, this guy right here. That was good.
Very lucky to have that experience and that exposure to really high-end real estate and focused office space, which I think is something that we've seen evolve over the last 10 years. I will say that Mark and Carrie have both done a good enough job to where the office market is now certainly in a good spot. So thank you guys for that. I think certainly one of the things that's been important to me is what Mark hit on as well, and relationships. At the end of the day, that's where most of our clients come from. And I think probably now almost a third of deals come from referrals from past clients. And that's a testament to doing a good job on the front end and you know, keeping that relationship going way past somebody moving in. You don't just never talk to them again, right? You want to make sure that experience is going well. And I think that's a testament to our team and what we've been able to do the last few years here.
And the rest of the story, Sterling.
What's that?
Lee Blood.
Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah. By the way, I see if you haven't noticed Mark Pierce's socks,
I looked at
those
his
are
socks.
fantastic.
Did you notice those?
Can we go there about, I wasn't sure if I should say because I wanted to honor the space we're in, but the last event that Mark and I went to, he came out in a white tracksuit and I felt like everybody should just go home. The game was won. This guy was amazing. So I love your socks.
The story is that Sterling and I worked at Lee and Associates. When he came on into commercial real estate, he started at Lee. So he's got Lee Blood.
Yeah,
nice.
I was a lean associate for 7 years. Very fortunate to get to work with Mark and company over there, and it was a fantastic experience. Learned a bunch from Mark and the lead team, though I didn't get those socks, so I might have to grab you after.
All right, our questions are going to get harder. I promise you. We might even go beyond what we have the ability to answer. But the idea of relationship keeps coming up. So take that, put it in your pocket. Michelle, I do quite a bit of industrial work. You own that space. What do you currently know that nobody else knows that they need to know?
Drive times are killing your deals. They're doubling your construction timelines. They are reducing the hours that construction workers can work during a day because they're driving 60 to 90 minutes across the valley to get to your site. So coordinating installs with suppliers is also a massive issue. And then once your facilities are built, that drive time from, you know, East Mesa all the way up to TSMC for someone to do a repair kills deals.
Amen. So this week, for example, I was in meetings with Lee and Associates about product in Casa Grande because we needed to manufacture there, but it was product related to TSMC. Casa Grande and TSMC are not anywhere near one another. Other conversations we were having this week was if we're going to build anywhere near ASU, you're landlocked. And so as a construction company, we probably won't get that deal unless we're smart enough to lock up land proximate to it for laydown yards. So this isn't just about construction. This is multivariable, complex mathematics with relationship driving. And so these guys as team members, I cannot do it alone. I can't even get close to the deal alone. I really, really need these players in the room. All right. Questions are stepping up here. By the way, if you guys don't know these resumes, I just want to, when I began researching, some of you I know and some of you I began researching, very, very legitimate deep resumes. Carrie Scott, for example, has an incredible resume. Could you give just like an overview of your career? Because not everybody's got your depth. Can you give a little bit?
I'm not sure what website you looked at. Very simply put, I've been in commercial real estate for 17 years, 7 years on the property management side. If no one knows what property management is, it's probably best you don't. It's a very miserable miserable job. You get a lot of calls all day long with people yelling and complaining. But it was also the best 7 years of my career because it allowed for me to move into the brokerage community and look at things very, very differently. So I've now been on both sides of the equation, and it helps for transactions to be a lot smoother. I started as a lone ranger outdoor knocking. I realized I was young in my 20s and girls don't get turned away at industrial buildings. So I went out and just started cold calling. And let me say that I met some really nice guys in warehouses who felt really bad for me, invited me in, and I ended up doing 39 deals my first year. So that's how I got started. And then I will make a comment. Tracy Latham over here, she was one of my very first clients, and I've had the pleasure of watching her business grow. And it's folks like her that I love what I do because watching her blossom has been awesome.
Okay, so thank you. Besides, women don't get turned away from industrial projects. What do new brokers coming into market need to know? What's your advice? And please don't hold back, like hit it.
Okay. First off, don't be dumb. Okay. Ask the right questions. Lean on your seniors. Don't go out into the world and have an ego and think that you know everything, because you have really, really seasoned brokers in this community that will take the young brokers under their wings and help them. But I think I'm personally seeing a lot of our younger generation not rely on or respect the older generation and really having them pave the road for them. Power. I mean, Mark will tell you right now, power is our biggest enemy right now, because we're fighting with SRP and APS to make sure that we can service some of these manufacturing groups. But you also have zoning, you also have relationships. I see a lot of really, Sterling, don't tell anyone I said this, but young, very inexperienced brokers running the streets. And I think you can make a mistake in working with somebody who doesn't know what they're doing. I got 2 calls over the last 3 weeks where somebody's in their building, and lo and behold, the city came knocking and said, oh, you don't have the right C of O. Well, that's an oh shit moment, because that tenant is no longer allowed to operate in that space until they get that resolved. So those are big, very, very impactful things that can happen to a business owner. And candidly, small business owners cannot afford that. It will put them under.
Well, let's talk about that for just a second, because when I get these new brokers, I want to help them so much. You know, I'm an elementary school teacher. That's why I started. So these, the youth of America, I love education. And when I get these young bucks and these, young women that are just trying to make it, but there's so much risk, I just can't bring them to a deal. Can somebody give me some insight? How can I driving the deal? Because I'm oftentimes the one that's bringing the deal to the broker. So it's a little bit backwards. A lot of times it's not, but we're hungry too. So if I can get that deal, I'm trying to partner it out. Now, what seems to be the case is those younger brokers are more accessible to me. I'm probably going to see them at that event, but it's pretty quick that I'll recognize I got the wrong person on the line. How can I honor their career and help you at the same time? Anybody open to that idea?
Well, I think it takes time. You have to recognize that it's hard work. It's 7 days a week, 12, 15, 16 hours a day for at least 2 to 3 years. If you don't do that, you're avoiding the cost of doing business, and it just doesn't build a strong foundation. So I always recognize the hardworking younger brokers, and I'm willing to mentor them because I know that they can go to the next step and elevate or progress in their career. But you really do have to be a hard worker.
Yeah.
I think you as the one bringing the deal in, I would suggest, and I've had to do this with a lot of young brokers, which is like, hey, let's just go sit down and have lunch. And then point out to them some of the mistakes that they're making and be an advocate to help them rectify those issues that you are seeing, because you are going to make them a better broker. I think you're also creating a partnership where they can say, hey, you're willing to call me out and help me grow. And so I think people will rely on you a little bit more. And so to me, you're not doing them any favor by not telling them where they're failing. You're only effectively hurting the client at the end of the day. And your sole responsibility is to make sure that the deal gets done right, not be worried about people's feelings.
Yeah, that's helpful. By the way, Mark, I have seen you taking those young ones and helping them learn the ropes. So it's real and it works. So thank you for that. We're all helping the community grow. this is for everyone, but Carrie, I'm going to start with you because I prepped you for it a little bit. In our space, it is starting to be a weekly thing where somebody's coming to me and from a construction services standpoint, they came in and it's a famous phrase. I asked ChatGPT what my building should cost. I asked ChatGPT where I should put this piece of property and whatnot. Are you seeing that same question on your side? And is it accurate information they're giving you at the moment?
Well, I had an experience with a client that was did a chat GPT over a contract, and it really caused more issues than were necessary. Slowed down the progress, slowed down the normal review that a council would go through. Some irrelevant, redundant questions that took up a lot of time just to find out the answer that's already in the contract. So I think that reliance on ChatGPT for something that you really need to spend some time with and examine is probably still best served by the principal and their counsel attorney.
Thank you. Doug gave me the get off the stage music. So I want to thank you guys so much, and I look forward to working with all of you. Please, Lord. All right. Thank you, everybody.
Whenever I've played that music, it never happened so fast in terms of wrapping up. So that's amazing. Thank you. You've endured. Did you learn anything today? Great. Did you make some connections today that are going to be valuable? Okay, I hear a lot of nods. So we're going to gather outside of here in about 2 or 3 minutes, but there's somebody very important that you need to meet. The origin of this event, the Global Chamber Semiconductor Summit, started 4 years ago with the country of Japan and working with the Consulate General in Los Angeles. And this date got tied to the Japanese Matsuri. You may not know, but the Japanese festival here in Phoenix, I think, is the second largest one in the US. And I think Kelly might even say, you may have told me that it's the largest festival in the US, but certainly one of the largest. But Phoenix, Arizona, what in the world? How could that even be? It's because of this guy. He was the honorary consul for Japan. And I actually Googled it because I had to get it right for once in my life to actually say it. He received the Order of the Rising Sun gold rays with neck ribbon from the government of Japan, thanking him for decades of service in supporting the connectivity between Arizona and Japan. And just as an example, there's only 3 people I know that have ever received this award. Kelly Moore, who we're going to talk about the Matsuri. Come on up, Kelly, if you could. Brian Swords, who about 15 years ago got me interested in maybe starting a global chamber. He's in Los Angeles, and he was saying, there's all sorts of things that could be done. He won the award last year, and I was honored to be able to go to Los Angeles and see him win it. And the third person, you may have heard of a restaurant called Nobu. Masahisa Nobu received the award. So Masahisa Nobu, Brian Swords, who's part of the Global Chamber Los Angeles Advisory Board, and this man, who I'm going to bet is probably involved in the Matsuri this year and is working his butt off again to make it the best ever. Kelly, could you tell us a little bit about it? Kelly Moore.
Well, a couple of things. Doug just said everything I was going to say, so I'll see ya. And number 2, I'm trying not to work. So there's a couple of things going on. But there are a couple of events in Phoenix, and it's, as he said, it started with Japan 5 years ago. But I didn't hear some of the earlier presentations. It was a very large presence from Japan in Phoenix. A lot of it is semiconductors. They first came with Intel, and there are just more and more of them. And as a result of that, there are a couple of institutions and events that there are permanent and semi-permanent. One is the Japanese Friendship Garden, which is Roosevelt and Third Avenue. And it's recognized as a really beautiful place. This year is its 30th anniversary. Tomorrow night, if you're free, there is a celebration with Phoenix's sister city, Himeji, and that's their 50th year. So we've got, I think it started in 1976. Is 76 from 2026? Is that 50? Who's good at math?
Yeah, 50.
Okay, good. Marcus is good at math. Glad to hear that. And tomorrow there's a group coming in from Himeji. There's some dancers, some shamisen, which is a stringed instrument, and playing, and they're going to sort of start off the week at the Friendship Garden. So if you can go there, I think it starts at 6:30 or something tomorrow night. And, oh, I have slides. Unfortunately, we can't show them, but look up JapaneseFriendshipGarden.org and go from there. It's worth going to. And then the other thing this is a lead off to the Arizona Matsuri, which Doug mentioned a little bit. It takes place always the last full weekend of February. And this year it's the 21st and 22nd. It's at Steele Indian School Park, which is 3rd Street and Indian School, if you don't know the location. And it is, well, Matsuri translates as festival, and it is a festival celebrating the arts and culture of Japan. And they have food, they have exhibits, they have guys peddling junk, of course. What else? Oh, martial arts, taiko. There are 3 stages of continuous kind of entertainment and presentations. And it's, oh, most importantly, a beer garden. So there you go. And it's free. And so it starts 9 o'clock on, I think there's an opening parade at 9:30 on Saturday morning. And our VIP guest will be the Consul General from Japan. The mayor will be there and city officials from the city of Himeji. Last year, there were about 100,000 people attending it. Oh, there you go. I didn't even see that. Last year, there was about 100,000 people attending it. And this year, well, who knows what's going to happen. And it's a family-friendly deal, for sure. I mean, kids love to go. And so if you're here with your families, it's a good way to spend Saturday or Sunday. And if you're really into it, both days. So we hope to see you at the Matsuri. Is today Wednesday? Thursday, Friday, Saturday, 3 days from now. And yeah, and you can sort of see what it's all about there. Great. Thank you very much. Thank you. Okay.
Jem, have you got that other website? So Hokusai and Da Vinci, I believe, is March 28th and 29th. And so another one of our partners is Harumi Mayamori. And they're a partner through the National Association of Japan America Societies. There's 40 of those in the United States, and the 40th was Phoenix, and it started last year as part of this event. We included the promotion of that, and Harumi Mayamori is on Zoom, but the way it's set up, kind of a little bit of a surprise for us. She's not able to speak, I don't think. But I wanted to make sure you knew about this as well. And that's how I kind of wanted to finish this program. Something big is happening, and hopefully you got a sense of that today. Certainly AI is driving everything. Semiconductor is driving the semiconductor industry. And it turns out that Arizona was prepared for that. And so instead of what we went through as a region where we were kind of strip mall and we hit like Nevada, we really were beaten down during that last depression. Now we have something that is stable and solid. And this was a lot of what inspired me to start Global Chamber, was like, here's Arizona. It should be much better, much more global. And that's going to allow it to have a platform to be much more not just growing, but stable in the future. And so lo and behold, it had all of these gems and it all came together in a beautiful way. And so Arizona is big now. And as we talked about earlier, women are amazing and are part of the big story that not only is today, but increasingly going forward. Last year, we had Stan Shih, who is the founder of Acer, a global icon for Taiwan, speak here at this event. And he talked about women and their role in women in industry. You may know by reading Chip Wars, I mentioned that book earlier, women played a key role in the globalization of semiconductors because they were picked to be the manufacturing people in San Francisco when they were building the industry because their hands were small. And then somebody came up with the idea, well, in Asia, not only do they have small hands, but they have a lower cost. And so the business started to become manufactured in Asia. And lo and behold, a global industry got formed. And so the other thing then that is big is global. And even though there are people that want to shut down global and shut down people and shut down immigration and shut down whatever, it can't be stopped. It's sort of like Kofi Annan said, don't argue with the law of gravity. You can't stop it. And those who argue against globalization are just like arguing against the laws of gravity. It can't be stopped. And so, yes, we have proximity bias as people because we have to cross the street safely. We have to recognize those things around us. But we need to be global more than ever because there are people who are trying to keep us local, can't do it. Because the global opportunities are extraordinary and amazing. And if there's nothing else to take away from today, recognize that the global business is bigger and better than ever. We need to be more global. And that improves the world because the more we connect globally, the more we recognize that we're all one people. The person we're negotiating in Malaysia or India or Japan or in any country in Africa or anywhere in the world are people. They're humans. And they do business just like us. They want to feed their family. They want to put a house over their head. They want to have their children educated. We're all the same. And so keep being global. That's our goal. Our focus with Global Chamber with 605 chapters is to be global. We are global. In Africa, we have 57 of 69 cities covered by chapters. And so our goal is to help our members be more global so that we can all take advantage of this opportunity. Thank you, everybody. We're going to gather out here and finish up. Thank you to all.